I platinumed every unique Minecraft game, and I'm going to show you how I unlock the combined 171 trophies, and breaking those down into rarities that are 93 bronzes, 48 silvers, 25 gold, and 5 platinum trophies. We'll be playing through Minecraft's classic sandbox first. 51 trophies available. I immediately unlock 2 trophies after spawning into the world by punching a tree until a block of wood pops out, then opening my inventory. After looking around the area to set up base, I would encounter my first monster, a creeper, and by attacking it enough, I destroy it for another trophy. To further my progress into the world, I would need to make a crafting table with 4 blocks of wooden planks, then construct a furnace out of 8 cobblestone blocks I had mined out of the ground. I then constructed a better pickaxe to mine stronger ores. You're probably wondering how I got the furnace without crafting a pickaxe beforehand, and that is because I had a bonus chest at the start of this world. With no coal at my disposal, I decided to smelt some wood trunks to make charcoal, then use that charcoal to smelt more wood trunks for a trophy. I'd also use planks and sticks to make a sword, and with my stronger tools I went mining until I eventually found iron, and by sticking it in the furnace with the charcoal, I was able to smelt an iron ingot. With this iron, I then made some shears, where I used them on a sheep to obtain wool. Eventually I would need to have a more reliable food source rather than slaying the animals around the field, so I made a hoe, allowing me to place seeds into the dirt to yield. Speaking of animals, I had slayed a pig for a pork chop, and by cooking it in the furnace and eating it unlocks me a trophy. I'd then go back underground to get more resources and eventually found diamonds, which will be very helpful later. After having a look at the trophy list, I got a few more, such as catching and cooking a fish, harvesting some leather, even though in my case I think the trader's llama met an unfortunate fate, constructing one type of each tool being the pickaxe, spade, hoe and axe. Remember those seeds I planted? Eventually they turned into wheat, and by harvesting 3 of them, this allowed me to turn it into bread. Randomly, the Iron Man trophy would unlock. This was to wear a full suit of iron armor. As you can see, I'm already wearing it. Maybe it just unlocks after you take damage for the first time in the suit. This next trophy involved a saddle that I had found. I would have to use it to ride a pig, then have that pig be hurt from full damage. This meant I needed to craft a carrot on a stick to be able to guide the pig in a certain direction. After making a hole big enough for full damage, I was able to unlock the trophy. Shortly after, I noticed a creeper near my base and dealt with it by using a bow and arrow to unlock another trophy. I then decided to craft a jukebox with one of the diamonds I had mined, but I needed a music disc, which I luckily found as an ancient city seeps deep under my base. Within them, there are chests filled with loot, and that is where I got the music disc allowing me to play it. While tending my base, I noticed a skeleton had fell into the water within the farm. This was an opportunity, as this trophy requires me to kill a skeleton with an arrow from more than 50 blocks away. So I pulled up 50 blocks into the sky and fired away until it died. I then picked up some wheat from the farm and used them to breed 2 cows for another trophy. To make big strides in progress, I would need to visit the Nether, only accessible by constructing a Nether portal built from obsidian. I would need to find lava and place water over it, then mine the obsidian specifically with a diamond pickaxe. After mining enough, I could build the portal. I then ignited it with flint and steel to enable the portal where I travelled to the Nether and encountered a ghast. It spits fireballs at you, but you're able to reflect these, and by destroying the ghast with its own fireball, unlocks me a trophy. I returned to the overworld to obtain resources to make the Nether easier to navigate, but I got distracted and unlocked 2 more trophies. One for discovering 17 of 40 biomes, then befriending 5 wolves by giving them bones. With resources in hand, I went back to the Nether and eventually found a fortress, as well as a blaze spawner. By killing one of these blazes, it dropped a rod, which will be important for later. Now, Minecraft's trophy list would get very random, like stopping starvation by eating rotten flesh dropped by a zombie, crafting and placing a sign, mining 1728 cobblestone and placing it in a chest. I then baked a cake using wheat, sugar, milk and eggs that I had amassed from my farm, crafting a dispenser, and a flower pot, then placing it. The blaze rod was important for many purposes, but here I needed one to make a brewing stand. This would allow me to brew potions, and while I was in the Nether, I had also picked up nether warts, as this was another resource to correctly brew a potion. One of them being a potion of strength, that I drank and took my strongest sword available to find an enemy to deal 9 hearts of damage in a single hit. I then went for Rainbow Collection. This wants you to gather all 16 colours of wool. You'll find a few different coloured sheep in the wild from white, black, brown and grey, however you'll need to create dyes to unlock the rest. Flowers can provide red and yellow, you'll need to combine dyes together for colours such as orange and purple, green comes from cactus, blue comes from lapis, and so on. Eventually I would amass the 16 colours for the trophy. One time at night I encountered a zombie villager, and I quickly obtained a splash potion of weakness and a golden apple. This is because you can cure them by throwing the splash potion then feeding them a golden apple, which of course unlocks us a trophy. Speaking of villages, I had a village nearby and decided it would be the perfect place for this next trophy, which involved me travelling by minecart to a point at least 500 blocks in a single direction from where I started. This meant I needed rails, crafted from sticks and iron. Luckily I had anticipated this and was considering the 100% trophy completion of this game in the future. I had built an iron farm. This meant I would have iron on demand and a lot of it. All I needed to do was place all these rails down until eventually I reached the quota, and I took my minecart down the track, unlocking the trophy. While in the village, I traded with them, eventually acquiring 30 emeralds. To bolster the village's defences, I created them an iron golem. This next trophy I decided to create a new world because I couldn't find an ocelot. I had one fish from the bonus chest that could gain the trust of it, and luckily I got it on the first try. I then returned to my original world to construct an enchantment table from a diamond, obsidian and a book. I also crafted more books, allowing me to build some bookshelves. Remember the potions? I now needed to make a potion of fire resistance to consume and then swim in lava for a trophy. For this next one, I plugged in my second controller, as I needed to throw diamonds to another player. The last few remaining trophies before the platinum involved the end, which I could only find by using Eyes of Ender, where I needed ender pearls by slaying ender men, then blaze powder from the blaze rods. By throwing these Eyes of Ender, they show me the direction to the end portal, where the final boss, the ender dragon, would be. Upon fighting it, I decided I would conclude the platinum by killing the ender dragon, but this other trophy, Passing for Time, wanted me to play for 100 days first. To prepare myself for the last 3 trophies, I brewed potions like Slow Falling, Strength, Regeneration and Night Vision to make the fight easier. I entered the end portal and got to work. The tall pillars house regeneration points for the ender dragon, so I needed to break them from firing arrows with my bow and climbing up to break the cages. This is where the slow falling came in handy, so I wouldn't accidentally break my legs. However, I would unfortunately look at an enderman and get obliterated. Quickly getting back into the end and retrieving my equipment, I was able to recover and successfully defeat the ender dragon, unlocking the last 2 trophies. With Minecraft done, it was time for Minecraft Story Mode with 33 trophies. This game is basically a visual novel, a game influenced by your choices. The gameplay mostly consists of quick-time events, occasional walking and some puzzles, but mostly you'll be watching cutscenes and listening to dialogue. I won't be covering the story here, but the trophies in these games are incredibly easy. There are 6 chapters in an episode which all give you a trophy, meaning you unlock them from just playing the game. There are a few missables though. For example, we're given the materials to craft a sword to progress the story, but you can actually craft a lever instead for a trophy. Then there was to exhaust all conversations with a character by constantly pressing the button, then replaying a certain chapter as your choices will influence one of 2 trophies, and after about 8 hours the platinum trophy would be mine. Next was Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 with 31 trophies, which has an even easier platinum than its predecessor, as it has no missables, meaning you just play through the game and you unlock the platinum within a couple of hours. 3 platinum trophies and on to the 4th. The next game was Minecraft Dungeons with 25 trophies. It is a dungeon crawler where you'll slay thousands upon thousands of enemies for loot. Essentially, the story revolves around an illager who was shunned by his kin, looking for a new home but all he found was hatred. Driven by the rage against those who wronged him, he wandered, blind to whatever end, until he came across something that would change him forever. The Orb of Dominance, corrupted by evil. The Arch-Illager made all bow before him, and if they did not bow, they would fall. The Illagers raided the land, and that's where we come in, to stand against their reign of terror. We're shown the basics from our equipment ranging from weapons to artifacts that will help us take down enemies. We can explore the area for potential chests and better loot, but overall it is a linear adventure. Eventually I would unlock my first trophy by completing the tutorial level and setting up camp. We'll have to beat a handful of levels to unlock a few trophies, meaning we'll unlock a few others along the way, such as defeating 50 mobs, finding and opening my first fancy treasure chest, killing 10 mobs at once with TNT, completing Creeper Woods. I'd collect a total of 1000 emeralds, the main currency in the game, as well as complete 2 levels Pumpkin Pastures and Soggy Swamp for a trophy. Then after slaying countless enemies, I'd reach level 10, then complete the Redstone Mines and Cacti Canyon, and reach a total of 2500 mobs defeated. I then completed the following levels: Desert Temple, Fiery Forge, and High Block Halls. This would allow me to access the final boss of the game. To prepare myself, I enchanted an item and upgraded the enchant to tier 3. Some equipment come with random enchantments that can provide useful buffs. Eventually I would reach the Arch-Illager, who I take down with ease before he turns into an Enderman monstrosity with powerful attacks, yet I come out successful, defeating him at the Obsidian Pinnacle. While this game was easy, it would get harder as we needed to beat the game on Adventure difficulty to unlock Apocalypse difficulty, meaning another 2 playthroughs through all the same levels I had just done. This meant I would unlock several trophies on the way. These include eating 200 food items that can drop from enemies and chests. I then had to randomly obtain 3 artifacts that summon a wolf, llama, and iron golem allies to use at least once. This is where I got sidetracked in the tower. This provides a choice of rewards upon completion that would help me in the harder difficulties, and within that tower I managed to get the last artifact I needed to unlock the trophy. Continuing my adventure playthrough, I'd collect a total of 5000 emeralds, defeat 50 enchanted mobs, which you can identify by their purple hue. These are more powerful mobs with random effects such as thorns, meaning if you hit them, you'll take damage back. I then unfortunately had to defeat 50 passive mobs like cows and sheep. I'd also reach level 25 and open 100 treasure chests, then eventually reach level 50 just before the final boss on Apocalypse difficulty. But it wasn't difficult. I had my powerful gear with an extra revive on top of the ones that the game already give you, and my helpful summons where we slay the Arch-Illager once more. I now needed to level up a few more times as you receive enchantment points every time you do. This is because I needed to equip a gear set consisting of fully enchanted items, which is 3 enchantment slots upgraded to level 3. During my previous playthroughs, I had been unlocking secrets to unlock a special mushroom level, which levels you up extremely quickly, and after a couple of minutes, I was able to enchant all my gear. At this point, I thought the platinum trophy was to unlock, but realised I was forgetting one trophy, and that involved me reviving a downed friend 20 times. So I plugged in the second controller and placed them in front of an enemy, then revived them until eventually the trophy and platinum was mine. There is only one platinum trophy left to obtain, and that is within Minecraft Legends. A total of 31 trophies to unlock. An action strategy game where we've been asked for help by 3 beings: knowledge, foresight, and action. Their world is under attack by an invasion of piglins from the nether. I'm showing the tutorial where I can mine with the allays for resources, which I can then build structures like walls and spawners of various golems, each having their own purpose. Wood for range attacks against enemies, and stone for primarily attacking structures, the latter being extremely important as we'll be breaking a variety of structures built by piglins throughout the game. Eventually, I'd unlock the first trophy for completing the tutorial. In the overworld, there are 3 factions of piglins, all with their respective towers to take down, but they can also expand by building new ones. We have villages that can provide us resources, but piglins can plan attacks on them, meaning you either defend it from the attack or reclaim it another day. My next trophy would involve giving 25 orders from Banner View. This allows me to command my units without running into battle myself. Eventually, I would destroy one of the bases to progress the story and unlock a trophy. In this game, you team up with the mobs such as the skeletons, creepers, and zombies instead of trying to kill them, but to have these units by our side, we'll have to rescue their homes. There would be several trophies unlocked along the way, from spending 2 minutes buffed by speed wheat, glide for 30 seconds consecutively on a mount. There are several mounts in the game and you start with a horse. I ended up finding a big peak, and I simply climbed up to the mountains and glided down to the bottom. Next, I destroyed a base in under 7 minutes by having a bunch of stone golems targeted. I'm also playing on the easiest difficulty because we'll have to do another playthrough on the hardest difficulty known as Legendary after. Eventually, I would defeat 1000 piglins, then save the creepers, the zombies, and the skeletons. I then killed 20,000 netherrack blocks. This was done by upgrading my allays with the resources obtained from destroying piglin bases. Then being able to kill a netherrack is important, as you cannot build on it. This means you can place structures and spawners of your own closer to the base once cured. Throughout the world, there are these chests that contain resources, and by opening 5 of them, I unlocked a trophy. In addition, there are these mushrooms known as bounce caps. They provide you a buff that make you jump extremely high, and by spending 20 minutes being buffed by them, it unlocks another trophy. I'd also come across what is known as a thirst. These are large golems that are extremely useful as they can tank a lot and deal damage. If they die, they'll respawn back at a village. I would need the required resources to awaken them, these being gold, wood, stone, iron and coal. After collecting all the thirst, I'd unlock a trophy. Remember the mounts? I had already found the big beak, but then found the regal tiger and the brilliant beetle for another trophy. I'd then gather 1000 wood and stone, as well as 125 iron, coal, redstone and diamond. As I had rescued the creepers, I gave 10 of them individual orders for another trophy. They were also useful for destroying 250 piglin buildings, as they explode, causing massive damage. After destroying all the bases of the 3 piglin factions, it will spawn their bosses, the Beast, the Devourer, and the Unbreakable. After defeating all 3, I unlocked 3 separate trophies. Before defeating the last boss of the 3, I had built all the different improvements at the Well of Fate. This is the starting area of the game. With the resources you gather, you can build improvements that allow you to gather more resources or cure Netherrack. By placing at least one of each from this list, unlocks the trophy. This is because after defeating all 3 bosses, the Great Hog appears as the final boss of the game who has taken over the Well of Fate, and it was time for me to construct 3 host towers with an attack range of one another, these being Stun, Frost and Blast towers, which I had found throughout the map and gathered them after learning how to do so with an improvement. Eventually I would defeat the Great Hog with my units, concluding the first playthrough. Before diving into the second, I needed to unlock a few other trophies, such as giving an army of 80 mobs an order, not normally possible without the improvements, and because I had just finished the playthrough, I could refund the ones I had placed to get the required ones for this trophy. I then moved on to the multiplayer trophies. Luckily a few could be done solo, such as defeating an opponent with less than 10% of your HQ's health remaining in versus mode, by simply changing team. I could also gather 2,400 lapis in 30 minutes or less in versus mode by myself. I had to gather enough resources to create lapis flags to generate me the lapis, then I needed to place spawners so the lapis didn't cap at the maximum, then gradually earn enough for the trophy. This next one required me to play versus with other players, and somehow I found a lobby. I had to defeat another player with my sword, and got lucky as this player was AFK. Then all I had to do for the final multiplayer trophy was invite another player to play co-op. Now I could fully focus on the legendary playthrough. While not exactly the most difficult challenge ever, it can be tedious, as you'll be gathering all the thirst due to how reliable they are, taking down smaller piglin bases to get more resources, allowing you to build improvements to gather even more resources. But remember how the factions can expand their territory? They'll do this more frequently in Legendary, and they also deal more damage, meaning we just can't brute force with stone golems like before. This is where the redstone launcher strategy comes in. We get enough improvements where we'll gradually gain resources over time like diamond, coal and redstone. This means we don't have to particularly worry about having resources all the time. The redstone launchers are catapults and pair well with structures such as the spyglass overlook, which increases their range, the kaboomery that increases their damage, and the battle drum which increases their fire rate. With the allays curing the netherrack, we can set up a few redstone launchers surrounded by walls to protect them from hordes of piglins, and eventually fire away at the bases and bosses of the game. The only exception being the Beast, who targets villages and is incredibly mobile, making redstone launchers kinda pointless. But he's not too much of an issue with all the walls and arrow towers that you can spam around. So after 15 hours of gameplay, I would defeat the Great Hog, completing the game on Legendary and earning the final platinum trophy of the video.